Hello everyone and welcome to our latest TTG Face-to-Face. This morning I'm delighted to be joined by Managing Director for Cruise, TUI UK and Ireland, Chris Hackney. Chris, how are you doing? It's wonderful to see you this morning.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Tom. It's great to be here and great to have the opportunity to talk about what we're doing at Marella Cruises.
Absolutely. And yeah, talking about what you're doing at Marella Cruises, you joined the fray, the Round UK kind of party this summer with your own programme announced last week. I just wanted to start, Chris, by asking kind of how it feels to be restarting, because it's been such a long process that you've all been working towards so diligently. How does it feel as a team to be able to kind of get those itineraries out there, to have people start booking them and to really start looking ahead?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say it's been tough for a number of travel companies over the last 13 months, and it's been no different for us at Marella Cruises. So, there's been a huge amount of work going on in the last year. You might not have seen that we've been talking a huge amount about what's been done in the sort of previous 12 months, but it's fair to say there's been lots of dialogue with government really around actually what a return to service could look like for the cruise industry. And I think we're now in a sort of positive place where we can actually start talking about some itineraries that we've developed for this year that I know our customers will love and enjoy. So it's been tough. It has been very busy, unusually busy really in terms of the work that we've been focusing on in that time. But like I say, the attention has started to shift in the last couple of months to actually looking about what that return to service is going to look like for Marella really. And I'm pleased to be talking about that with you today, really, because it is quite positive, and it's something that I know our customers are quite excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine they were all kind of chomping at the bit to hear news and to get on board when they can. And of those itineraries that you announced last week, Chris, what ones do you think kind of stand out? It is getting quite a busy marketplace, isn't it? The Round UK. Obviously, that's how a lot of lines are restarting, and the government framework has allowed them to do so. What do you think Marella's offering in that space that kind of standing out amongst many different lines sailing around UK this summer?
Yeah, so we announced last week that we're going to have a Marella Explorer based out of Southampton for this summer, and we also talked that we're going to have Marella Explorer 2 based out of Newcastle as well, which I think really reflects the fact that our customers do come from all over the UK, and that really allows us to hopefully capture the market for both the south and the north of the UK. So I think that's really exciting. Obviously allows you to do slightly different itineraries on the back of that as well. So that's a real positive step. Clearly, we've launched our Southampton cruises already, and then the Newcastle itineraries will be going on sale towards the end of this month. So that's sort of plans. We're looking at calling at a number of different UK ports as part of our itineraries. It's great that there's parts of the UK that people typically might not have been to before. That these sort of cruises will really allow customers to see quite a bit of the UK in a week's holiday, really, which I think is a great thing to be able to offer. We hear a lot of talk in the broader press about the staycation market and the fact that actually it does look like the UK is going to be very busy this summer, and I think this just gives a different avenue to customers to explore the UK and experience that on a cruise, which has always been excellent value for money and will be no different this year.
Yeah, are there any particular ports of call or itineraries that, because you've kind of got Scotland ticked off, you've got the south, you've got England ticked off, you also got Ireland as well, which is interesting from a UK, from a sort of British Isles, UK and Ireland point of view. Not many lines are doing that. What was your kind of thinking behind that? Are you thinking that perhaps later in the summer, when sort of travel restrictions kind of open up, that might become a possible to visit there?
Yeah, so our cruises through to the end of August really are just calling at the UK, really. So a number of times we'll be calling at places like Liverpool. It was the European capital of culture back in 2008. Got the likes of Belfast. I think it was tagged as the best place from a Lonely Planet perspective in terms of Belfast and the Causeway Coast back in 2018. And then we'll be calling at the places like Leith, where you can go to Edinburgh. And I know that's always on a number of people's wish list to go and see, or Invergordon to go to Loch Ness to actually see if you can see the Loch Ness monster. So I think it really gives a bit of a sort of diverse range of places to go and see within a sort of a week's holiday, and I think it's great that we can do that. I think as the summer progresses and we get towards the end of this year, we're still hopeful that the international cruises will be possible, really. And I think last week's announcement, 2 weeks ago now, really, the announcement in the Global Travel Task Force report, where international cruises were aligned to international travel more broadly, I think was a really good step and move in the right direction. And that's given us the confidence to sort of put on sale some itineraries for the end of the year.
Yeah, because I was going to say, realistically, when you think international cruising will resume, because they've said in the report that it's a line, like you said, and it could be from the 17th of May. Realistically, it won't be, because lines need to get restarted. A lot of them are mid to late summer. Do you think it will kind of be September, October, autumn time before we're seeing? And do you just see it kind of close to home island stuff, or Canaries, Spain, Italy, Med? Do you think that's kind of the next phase of the plan?
Yeah, I think there is a bit of a wait and see on this, really. Like I say, there's been a lot of conversations with the cruise industry, with the UK government, and clearly they're clear in terms of some of the timelines it takes for us to be able to restart our operations. So we do need that probably 3-month period to allow ourselves to mobilise our operations, get our crew on board. The training needs to happen, but also the quarantine period is quite key when we bring our crew back to our ships as well. So there is a lead time in terms of our restart of our operations, really. And, at this stage, there isn't 100% clarity in terms of when we can get to international cruises starting up. But I think it's something that we think from the second half of the summer that there's likely to be some movement in that sort of territory. So for the time being, we've cancelled all of our international cruises until the end of July. And clearly we'll keep reviewing that on a regular basis based on the latest guidance that comes from UK government.
Yeah, does it, from a cruise point of view, does it feel a lot more hopeful? Because I know there were some large operator bosses who were quite disappointed by the lack of clarity that they felt the report gave. But do you think, from a cruise perspective, you've kind of been waiting for that green light, for such a long time, that it did kind of offer a lot more clarity and a lot more hope, maybe, than some other travel sectors?
I think there's still some questions to be answered, really. It's fair to say that conversations don't just stop now that the Global Travel 12 has been published. Really, there's still regular conversations going on with government, really, at the moment. I think from our perspective, it's given us enough confidence that we can do domestic cruises, and clearly, I think there's a market there for the summer season in terms of those domestic cruises. Clearly, once we're getting into sort of the last parts of the year, there's probably a limited shelf life in terms of how domestic cruises could operate out of the summer season, and we need to be moving to international cruises at that stage. But clearly, we need to work through that process and those timelines with governments, and that's what we continue to do in the short term. But I think at the here and now, we can start about domestic cruises, and I think it's the right thing to do. We obviously do our customer insight and engage with our customers on this, really, and there's a definite market for that. So we're excited to sort of get those on sale, really, and sort of start looking to a bright future in terms of that return to service and getting up and running again, which our crew, our customers want us to do as well. So it's exciting.
Yeah, that's like a quite interesting point, actually, Chris, the way you said that. Obviously, for now, domestic cruising around UK cruising is the way to go. But obviously, given the market and the Brits and perhaps the weather we have in the UK, it can't always be the case. What kind of demand are you seeing from your consumers and from sort of your agents' clients? Is it a lot of sort of Marella diehard fans who want to get on board? Are there some new to cruise in there? Is it quite an interesting market for new to cruise? Kind of what you kind of seeing? Are there any insights you can share there?
Yeah, I think generally in terms of booking so far for our domestic cruises, it's typically been customers that have cruised with us in the past, really, and know what they're going to get on a Marella cruise holiday. I think it's fair to say there's probably some opportunity in terms of people that haven't cruised before, who may be looking at staying close to home this year. And a cruise holiday is excellent value for money, really, in terms of the all-inclusive offering we have on board. The fact that you've got your sort of a la carte dining, you've got your West End theatre shows. Actually, the whole package really is very good value, and I think that will be something that may attract some people that may not necessarily consider cruise in the past, but actually see that value for money and may give it a try this year. So it's great. There's an opportunity to attract even more customers to cruise potentially. Yeah,
absolutely, and something maybe that might attract people as well, rather than sort of other lines. The fact that for under 18s, I know you've got double vaccinations for your adult guests, but for under 18s, you're asking for a lateral flow test, which is quite interesting when compared to some of perhaps the US baselines who are going for PCRs. Can you kind of just talk me through the idea behind that? And was it? I know there's a lot of talk at the moment around the cost of testing, and PCR being a lot more expensive than a lateral flow. Is that a cost that the traveller and the customer has to take on themselves? And what was kind of the thinking behind that? Really, that's quite an interesting point.
Yeah, for our domestic cruise, we've obviously confirmed that anyone over the age of 18 will need to have had both vaccinations to travel on our domestic cruises. We've always been a cruise line that attracts families really, and we were keen that we would be able to do that. But clearly, part of the guidelines, and these are all the protocols that all cruise lines have signed up really, is 100% testing, and that's something that we're very keen to do really. So all customers will need to have a test before boarding the ship, and clearly for under 18s, that's a lateral flow test that they'll be having. So I think it's good that we're sort of ensuring that the safety for our crew and our customers is paramount at the moment. There's clearly a lot of guidelines and policies that we put in place for when we do return to service, and testing is just one aspect of that, which again just hopefully gives customers that reassurance, which I think is key at this time as well.
Yeah, but just to kind of ask on that again, Chris, is it a case of you chose lateral flow because it's a more accessible, quicker test, or what was kind of cheaper to kind of do operationally? What was kind of the point in that really? Because it's quite a differential, isn't it, I suppose, from one line to another? Yeah,
I think in terms of the testing's moving on very quickly at the moment in terms of the availability and so it's something that we were keen to do really, to give the customers that clarity in terms of what that looks like. So we've confirmed that there'll be no cost to the customer in terms of the testing that they would need to do before boarding the ship really. But from our perspective, it felt that was the right balance in terms of that alongside the vaccination policy that we have in place.
Yeah, fantastic. And in terms of kind of how you see the past year, it's probably quite a large question kind of to end on, but how has the last year kind of changed your strategy and your focus as Marella? Do you think there's many areas that has changed your policies forever, or is there things that you've taken on that you never thought you would before, and kind of how does that kind of help going forward, I suppose? Again, like I said, there's a lot of conversations to be had, a lot of things that we don't know yet, but kind of how do you kind of see the future? Has it kind of opened your eyes to certain things, or?
Yeah, I think the long-term future for the cruise industry is still very bright, really, and I think it's exciting that we can restart again, really, and the cruise industry will return to its previous strength in the coming years. So this is a first step in the right direction of that. I think more closely for Marella, things have changed really. We have changed the size of our fleet in the short term, really, but it gives an opportunity for further growth in the future as well, and to really bring in more ships that complement our existing fleet. So I'm quite excited about the future. Fundamentally, do we think we have to revolutionise what we do from a cruise industry perspective? Yes, we have to have more policies in place really to ensure that the customers and crew have a safe but very enjoyable time on board our ships. But actually, in terms of the proposition, yes, there will be some changes in terms of what customers would see on board, but fundamentally, what the customers would expect in terms of previous onboard experience won't be fundamentally different going forward.
Actually, yeah, you kind of touched upon it there. The changes that the brands had to make in terms of you guys, especially on the river side. When do you kind of see the fleet coming back to 3? Because it was meant to be 3 ships and now it's kind of 2. Is that just a temporary measure given the circumstances and given because you don't necessarily know the capacity that you'll need for the coming summer? Is it kind of a temporary measure, would you say, or?
Yeah, I mean, from our river cruise perspective, obviously it's been a little bit unfortunate that we were due to launch last year. Really,
yeah, it must have been so frustrating.
The ships are ready to go. They look fantastic. We're just desperate our customers on board and see what we've done on those ships, really. So, it's been a real tough 12 months for that team, really, in terms of actually being so close to launching the operation and having to sort of pull back at reasonably last minute last year when obviously Europe closed down last March. But I think for the time being, we've got plans to launch again later on this summer. We have made the decision that we'll just operate 2 of those river cruise ships, but we've got the 3rd ship that's ready to go, really, and that will be operating from the following year. So again, everything's lined up. Again, we've got protocols in place for our river cruise operation, and again, I think it'll be great once our customers get on board to actually see the product we have to offer on our river cruise ships.
Yeah, it must be exciting to have that kind of ace up your sleeve, maybe to kind of, yeah, to get back and to show people that, because I imagine the excitement must be really palpable, and the fact that it's been, like I said, over a year to have it. You know, I think we were nearly there, weren't we? This time, kind
Yeah.
of March last year, and then almost it didn't happen. But you know, that's the case of sort of life at the moment, isn't it? It's so changeable. But Chris, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with everything. I'm sure it'll go well, and looking forward to seeing more this summer from Marella.
Great, thanks, Tom. Great to speak to you.